When you get to two guitar player bands, things get even more crazy because now you have to take into account the style of music, the types of things that the guitar players do, and then the matching of tones and whose tones get priority, and then how you're going to pan them. And again, there's a lot of ways to do it. So, you have to be aware of the ways to do it, but you can't necessarily think going in exactly how it's all going to be done. You can't plan for it. There's a bit of thinking on your feet, and maybe it's going to vary from song to song. So, just take something where you've got two guitar players, neither one's the lead guy or the rhythm guy. They're just kind of bouncing back and forth, all kind of playing different stuff. Maybe they're just kind of going between rhythm and lead. You can kind of just track those records, guy left, guy right. I call that, 90s four-piece rock band style. There's been a billion albums like that. You can literally listen to 90s records and solo one speaker, and you'll just hear like the headphone mix of somebody in the side because they didn't have all the way to like gate out stuff. I spent a lot of time as a kid sitting there listening to albums like Superdrag, Head Trip in Every Key, noticing that I could kind of hear something before the other dude came in. And that's because the whole motif was just this guy on that side, this guy on that side. What are we doing here? Tape days, nice and simple. Now, obviously, they did a really good job on records like that, but that's like 90s four-piece band style. Not a lot of layers, maybe some, throw in some layers here and there. Then in the 2000s, I started noticing there was a thing where there was a dedicated rhythm guy and then a guy doing leads mostly, or leads or octaves. And that kind of came into vogue more. What that led to was this desire to do stereo rhythms and then stereo leads. And you'll get a really good sound that way as long as the composition of the two things are really separate. So we're talking a guy playing power chords and a guy playing single notes or things that are brighter and higher up on the neck, or doing like a tapping part that's the same while the chords change. We all know what I'm talking about. It's styles of music based around this very idea. Guy plays four chords, guy plays looping high lead pattern. That's the way you kind of track those records. It sounds really good. But even then, assuming that the songs kind of have defined sections and verses and choruses, I generally find that the verses are still better 90s style, assuming that there's actually two things to be done. So maybe the lead guy doesn't play much, or maybe the lead guy just plays the same as the rhythm guy, or maybe he just does little accents. So you might just double track the rhythm guy and then put the little accents or the flourishes, panned in 50 off to one side. Maybe you just go down to one guitar on the left for the first half of the verse, and then halfway through the verse, the other guy comes in with his cool part. These are all options of ways to do this, but then you might get to the chorus and you want the big wall of sound where it's quad tracked.